Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for a brand new Chelsea FC news video. It's the international break. You guys know what it's like. We're all sat there as football fans just enjoying the international games, but when it's Nations League, which is basically just a glorified friendly league, it's a bit like, bring me back my beloved Chelsea, please. I can't even get my words out properly because it's been a few days since I last posted a video, but I'm back and there's a lot of football to come between now and the end of the year. Chelsea go to Newcastle United on Saturday lunchtime, which is absolutely delightful for me here in Bali because it means the game's on at 8:30 p.m. I never get to see a game in daylight, but it doesn't quite matter. We got a preview coming out Saturday morning or Friday night, and then there'll also be 6 things we learned straight after the game. So if you're not yet subscribed to the George Benson football channel, it's going to be a jam-packed end to the year. December is coming up, which means there'll be football every 3 or 4 days, and it's nearly over. The wait, it's been flipping long, you know. We got some good news coming out of Germany saying that supposedly Kai Havertz is healthy again. If you look at his flipping dog and his animals in his house, they all look pretty damn healthy, don't they, to be honest? Havertz is better, which means that maybe, as the sun starts flickering through the trees, maybe Mr. Havertz could be in contention to play against Newcastle. We'll have Frank Lampard's press conference on Friday, and then we will see if that is even possible. Today we've got a few stories, and the majority of the stories cover the midfielders that are currently at Chelsea or potentially could be at Chelsea in the near or foreseeable future. Got a couple of articles to go through today, but story number 1 is coming out of the French national team, and no, it's not the fact that N'Golo Kante scored for France, just his second ever international goal to beat Portugal. It is regarding Olivier Giroud. Now, Didier Deschamps has supposedly come out and said that if Olivier Giroud wants to keep his place for Euro 2020 and moving forward with the French national team, then he's going to have to leave Chelsea this January unless he significantly increases his game time. Now, we know that Olivier Giroud is the professional of all bloody professionals. The man doesn't complain. He knows what his role is in the squad, and when he's not getting minutes, he's not the kind to throw his toys out of the pram, kick up a fuss, and try and demand a move away from the club. However, with the form of Olivier Giroud at the end of last season, it's been a little bit unfortunate for him so far this year. With Timo Werner coming in, Tammy Abraham as well, these two strikers are the future of Chelsea's attack, and Giroud's minutes have been numbered because these other two strikers have done so well when they've been on the pitch. Now, for all of those aforementioned reasons regarding Giroud's attitude, the way that he's been throughout his entire Chelsea career, I, for one, as a Chelsea fan, wouldn't want to see Chelsea Football Club stand in the way of Olivier Giroud moving if he wants to move in January. Because he has been so great for the club, we could maybe try and promote another young striker, or we could rely on just having Werner and also Tammy. You got Havertz could play up front as well with midfielders coming back and lots of different options in this Chelsea team. Do we need to sign another striker if we do get rid of Olivier Giroud? That is a question I would love to know your answer to in the comments down below. I personally would love to see him stay, but I can totally understand if Frank Lampard isn't willing to or cannot guarantee him minutes. So maybe Giroud will leave in January. There would be plenty of clubs that would go for him, considering he scored twice again for France in their 4-2 win against Sweden to relegate the Swedes in the Nation League and to give France another big win, the world champions. We move into story number 2 of the day, and it is the news that is like, it's kind of teasing at this point. You know, the Premier League have come out and said that as soon as December, fans might be allowed back in stadiums, which means we may be able to go to our beloved Stamford Bridge to watch Chelsea again. Now, I won't be going because I'm in Bali, and at the moment, if I go out, I have to do a load of random visa stuff to get back in. You can come to Bali, by the way, if you want to. You just need to apply. Just a little hidden plug in there. But I don't believe any of these stories when 1 minute the government is saying that it might be a lockdown at Christmas, you never know. The next minute they're saying, you know what, now all you diamonds can go down the pub and have a few bevs and then go raucous inside Stamford Bridge before the end of the year. So when you look at those two conflicting stories, I don't want to buy into any of it. I don't want to get too excited just yet, but but I will update you guys as the government and the Premier League do regarding fans back in stadiums. Now, story number 3 that I want to discuss today has been the form of Ross Barkley. Is it good enough to warrant him coming back to Chelsea and playing within this side that we've currently seen with an abundance of talent across the entire midfield? Is Ross Barkley doing enough right now at Aston Villa for me to be confident that he will come back to Chelsea, do the same at Chelsea, or is this just one of those where we've sent a player out on loan, Frank Lampard and the coaching staff and Chelsea Football Club don't really see Ross Barkley being a big part of the future of this team, but the fact he's doing so well, does this mean that we might just consider selling him for a higher price next summer? I think, unfortunately for Ross Barkley, the latter is probably the more likely. I've been very impressed with the way he's played. I've not necessarily been surprised that Ross Barkley has done so well so far in that Aston Villa side. It's not just the quality of players that he's playing around, such as John McGinn, Jack Grealish, Ollie Watkins made a good start, the striker for Villa. It's also Ross's ability. There have been questions time and time again about whether or not he can put the top performances that he has put out over his career in little spits and spurts, you know. There's always been a question about whether Ross Barkley can do that on a consistent basis. At Chelsea, we saw that when he was on fire, he added some really good dynamic to this Chelsea team. He has that kind of ability to drive and run forward, to take a shot from outside the area. You never necessarily know what you're going to get. And I think with the current crop of Chelsea players in the first team and the first team squad, I don't really see Ross Barkley being, even though he's doing well right now, I don't see him being good enough to break into that first team, even if he was to carry on the current form that I'm seeing. I know that is, you know, it's all very hypothetical. There's only been 8 games of the season. There's still 30 still to go. We might see that classic dip in form from Ross Barkley out of nowhere. Then it might spike back up again. We do know that Frank Lampard is a very big fan of Ross Barkley. So maybe if he can keep this going for 38 games, we could see him back in a Chelsea shirt and in the Chelsea squad next season. Let me know your thoughts on that one, as ever, in the comments down below. The next story that I want to discuss is the form of N'Golo Kante. He scored the winning goal for France in their 1-0 win in Portugal, his second international goal, his Chelsea form in the little build-up towards this international break, in the 2 games we see him playing in the CDM position in front of the defenders. He was absolutely brilliant, and a lot of people are saying that N'Golo Kante is finally back to his very best. Will this be a hindrance for Chelsea in their potential move for Declan Rice in January? Now, when we look at the deal for Declan Rice, Chelsea are supposedly going to have to pay £70 million to get him from West Ham. We know that Frank Lampard admires the player. We know that there's probably no doubt that Declan Rice would fit straight into the ethos of the team and the way we're trying to play and what we're trying to build. Is it worth waiting for another player in a few years' time, or a couple of years, or 18 months' time, not going for Declan Rice because we're maybe a little bit put off by the price tag? And according to Eurosport, Chelsea are impressed with the form of N'Golo Kante, so are considering delaying a move for a defensive midfielder or any other midfielders to go in for Jude Bellingham in 18 months' time. This has been reported by Eurosport. I'll put a couple of the quotes up on the screen. I don't really know about this one. I've not seen too many shouts and reports regarding Chelsea's interest in Jude Bellingham. We know that we have been interested in Declan Rice. I think if it wasn't such a hefty price tag, Chelsea probably would have made a move for him in the summer. And of course, across the course of December, we're probably going to see a lot more news and information coming out about Chelsea potentially making that bid for Declan Rice. This one for Jude Bellingham, it's one of those, again, where you could kind of see why Chelsea would do it. We're building a project with young players, English core within the squad. Jude Bellingham obviously made his England debut recently. He's a very talented player. He's still incredibly young. You've also got kind of similarities in the potential building of this story in terms of transfer gossip, where you've got someone like Jadon Sancho, who went to Borussia Dortmund very young, and then obviously as a young, talented English player, there's always going to be a draw from Premier League clubs. There's always going to be a draw for the player to potentially move to a Premier League club. Jude Bellingham hasn't long ago signed for Borussia Dortmund, so if Chelsea were to go in for Jude Bellingham, it would be a case of waiting probably 2 years or 18 months by which point he's probably going to have played a lot more for Dortmund. His price tag's going to rise again in a footballing market where prices just still seem to be doing this. So, the question I have for you guys is, do we think that right now, with Chelsea's midfield performing the way that they are, the fact that N'Golo Kante is seemingly back to his old best, do we think we need to go in for Declan Rice in January? And when you see this news story coming out about Chelsea potentially going in for Jude Bellingham, would you rather not go for Declan Rice in January and then go and attempt to buy Bellingham in a couple of years' time? This is a story where clearly there's a big time frame on this potential bid or potential interest that's being registered. So I do probably believe it is simply just clutching at straws in the name of journalism. However, it's one that I would love to know the answer that you guys have to say in the comments down below. Of course, with GBFC content, I always go through the comments, read what you guys have to say, and then sometimes if I think someone makes a good point, I bring it up in a video over the coming days as a result. But that is going to wrap this one up today. There's been a few little news stories here and there, but I didn't want to be uploading like new videos every single day because it just, for me, it wasn't be the quality of content that I want to post for you here on GBFC. I hold myself at a high standard, and hopefully, despite no videos for a few days, you guys have enjoyed this Chelsea news video today. Going to be doing a video between now and the game against Newcastle where we break down Chelsea player performances over the international break. There's been some brilliant performances from a lot of our players, keeping together that form individually that we have seen from this Chelsea team in the build-up to this international break. Newcastle away on Saturday, early kickoff, which is brilliant news for me in Bali. It means I don't have to get up at flipping stupid o'clock. Heavily looking forward to that one. Heavily looking forward to it. You can tell I've not made a video for a few days. I'd never normally say heavily looking forward to it. I'm really bloody looking forward to it. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new here to GBFC so that you don't miss any content between now and the end of the year. It's the busiest month in the footballing calendar. December is upon us. The Geordies are upon us. I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.